I am recording, I am inputting, and life is good.
Great.
Much better than it was a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for asking me to do an interview with you. That's great.
Oh, no problem. I don't know how exactly I came across your stuff, but yeah, I think it might have been through some other Sinclair stuff. But
Yeah.
your stuff popped up on Facebook, and I thought, oh, what's the problem with Sinclair and breastfeeding? So I thought I'd contact you and please tell me what the issue is and.
Well, it all started about 8 months ago when I started my fall semester at Sinclair last August. I had just had a baby in June, so my son, River, was about 2 months old, and I needed to find a place to pump, so I went on Sinclair's Facebook and asked if there was a place that I could go, and they said, well, we'll get back to you. And I had a response very shortly after that. They told me that there wasn't any place to go except for Building 8 in a locker room. And a locker room isn't a very good place to make anybody's food, let alone your baby's food. So I had called several people, and they kind of sent me in the runaround about where I could go to find a room that was closer to my classroom, because if you look at a map of Sinclair, Building 8 is across campus from where my classes were in Building 9. You would think they're right next to each other, but they're actually completely across campus. So I couldn't ideally walk across campus to there and pump and come back. It wouldn't work. So I was talking to multiple people at Sinclair, and they really couldn't give me an answer as to what I could do. They said I could use the bathroom, or I could use the locker room. That's pretty much all the options I had. There were some staff members that were willing to open up their office to me, but again, the distance from my class to their office wasn't ideal. So at that point, I think it was so long ago, it's hard to remember the exact timeline of it all, but eventually I started a petition on change.org to get Sinclair to open up a pump room for students, because they have a pump room for employees, but students did not have access to it. And I had shared my story with several blog pages, and one of the pages called Latch the Bays had shared it. And then at that point, it kind of went viral, and news stations contacted me. And when the word got around that I was doing interviews with news stations, Sinclair had called me and said that they were going to open up the employee pumping room for me. At the time, I thought that it was going to be open for everybody, but it was only going to have access for me. The only student would be me. I didn't realize it at the time until later, but I still did the interviews, and I didn't want it to die down, so I contacted Sinclair again, and they said the only way I could really get any push or pull is to start a club and attend student government meetings to get the word out there. So that's what I did. I started a club. It's called Breastfeeding Moms of Sinclair. We're brand new still. We just got approved in December, and the approval process was kind of slow, but we're up and running now. We just had our first event at the Spring Fling at Sinclair to get the word out there. At this point, there's really not a lot that we can do to get a pumping room. We've been told it's a space issue and a money issue. So at this point, we're just trying to support the mothers that do breastfeed and our students, and get the information out there and show Sinclair that there is a need for pumping rooms, and hopefully we'll get some positive feedback from them in the future.
So as far as breastfeeding on campus in some of the different areas, is that against campus rules or?
Well, not. I don't think it's a breastfeeding on campus. I don't know a lot of people that bring their babies to school, honestly. I don't bring my baby to school, but I do have to pump if I am gone away from him for more than 4 hours. And I actually pumped out in the hallway because I wasn't going to use a bathroom to pump. I had a cover on, and I had a pump, and it wasn't a busy building or anything like that, but that's just what I had to resort to get the milk for my son. So I don't think there's any rules against it. I have no one
So it's not really a breastfeeding issue as far as that goes. It's
right. They're not like you can't breastfeed here. It's more about there needs to be a place for the moms to pump at.
Okay. You've had a Facebook. What kind of response have you gotten from your efforts so far, and who have you done interviews with?
Well, the news station interviews, they posted the story on their Facebook, and I actually got a lot of negative feedback from the public. A a lot of people don't understand breastfeeding. I had no idea about breastfeeding before I was a mom, so I can't really blame them. It's just our culture doesn't really show it very often, and they don't really know how pumping works and all the logistics to it. So I wasn't surprised that I got the negativity, but I also got a lot of support too. With every negative comment, there was a positive comment. Now that it's all kind of died down a little bit, I'm still in the process of getting awareness out there. I have the Facebook page up still. We have about 19 members in the breastfeeding group at Sinclair, and then probably about 80 people that support us on our Facebook page. So I really want people to try to understand that it is an issue and that moms need a place to pump at, because it's a community college. I mean, you would think that they support families and adults, things like that, that they would put the foot in the door and say, hey, we support our moms and you can have both. You can be a breastfeeding mom and you can go to school. So I think right now I'm really trying to get the word out that it's an issue for us. And so
tell someone who doesn't understand why the logistics issue of breast pumping would be important, if they would just say, wow, why can't you just wait till you get home?
Okay, so every body is different. Every woman is different with their body functions. If you're a breastfeeding mom of a baby who nurses, I don't know, every 2 to 3 hours, you want to pump every 2 to 3 hours so your supply stays with your baby. If you do not comply with your baby's feeding schedule, then you're likely to lose your supply, or you can become engorged, and which can lead to infection, which can lead to problems. That was one comment that I heard a lot was, why can't you just, pump before you leave? And if you have 5 classes in a day, you can't really go all 8 hours without pumping. You're going to have issues. You're going to lose your supply. You're going to get infection. There's all kinds of risks that can be associated with not pumping when you need to.
Okay. So that is important.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your, ultimately, you want to get a pumping rooms. How many would you like to see? Would you like to see one? Campus?
I like to see it start small. I would like to see at least one room, and it doesn't have to be a fancy room. I would like to see one room by the end of the year that's just, this is for pumping room for our students, and it doesn't have to have it. All we need is an electrical outlet, a table, and a chair. That's the bare bones of what we need. Ultimately, dream big. I like to see a pumping room in every building with a sink, so you can wash your hands and all that stuff. That's my ultimate goal, and I know that will take a long time, probably when I'm graduated and gone. But I still want to see that idea go along, and my procedures can step in my shoes and keep fighting the good fight. I know that some universities, like Duke University, I know it's a really big campus, but they actually have pumping rooms in every building, and they have pump adapters too. Okay. So they're very supportive of their breastfeeding mothers that attend there.
Superb. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or if someone wants to get a hold of you, where they can reach you? I found you on Facebook.
Yeah, they can find us on Facebook. You can just search Support Breastfeeding Mothers of Sinclair. And then from there, they can message me about anything. I run the page there. Another thing I wanted to add is that by law, workplaces with over 50 people are required to have a pumping room for their workers that are separate from bathrooms and does not coincide with their lunch breaks. This is Section 7 of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and to me, if they're going to have adult workers as a law to have pumping rooms, why not students at a community college? It doesn't make any sense as why they wouldn't have equal rights. So I thought that was a good point.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I thank you for your time today.